true satisfaction is only for what has its plenitude in its own being. Where craving is due to an inborn deficiency, there may be satisfaction at some given moment, but it does not last. This cause, therefore, of all existing things cannot be any one of them. For at this point one would arrive at the act of thinking of it, as if to be disproportion in regards to proportion, and limitlessness in regards to limit, formlessness in regards to the one shaping the forms, always wanting in self-sufficiency, always indefinite, nowhere having a place to situate itself, wholly passive, insatiable absolute poverty, and these things above have not been corresponding to it, but as if the true essential being of it is these things. And what is it but all these things? What do you experience on perceiving yourselves lovely within? Attention to trifles is inconsistent with great genius of every kind. Those incapable of thinking gravely read gravity into frivolities which correspond to their own frivolous nature. A gang of lads, morally neglected, and in that respect inferior to the intermediate class, but in good physical training, attack and throw another set, trained neither physically nor morally, and make off with their food and their dainty clothes. What more is called for than a laugh? The sphere of sense, the soul in its slumber, for all of the soul that is in body is asleep, and the true getting up is not bodily but from the body. In any movement that takes the body with it there is no more than passage from sleep to sleep, from bed to bed. Mankind is poised midway between the gods and the beasts. What, then, is the achieved sage? One whose act is determined by the higher phase of the soul. We must close our eyes and invoke a new manner of seeing, a wakefulness that is the birthright of us all, though few put it to use. To set oneself above intellect is immediately to fall outside it. That which is afraid is that which is capable of being affected. To see the supreme which is also the means to the vision, for that which illuminates the soul is that which is to see. Knowledge has 3 degrees: opinion, science, illumination. The means or instrument of the first is sense, of the second, logic, of the third, insight. This is why we must break away towards the high. We dare not keep ourselves set towards the sensuous principle, following the images of sense, or towards the merely vegetative, intent upon the gratifications of eating and procreation. Our life must be pointed towards the intellective, towards the intellectual principle, towards God. Not even a god would have the right to deal a blow for the unwarlike. The law decrees that to come safe out of battle is for fighting men, not for those that pray. The harvest comes home not for praying, but for tilling. We have no right to complain of the ignoble getting the richer harvest if they are the only workers in the fields, or the best. Knowing ourselves, we are beautiful. In self-ignorance, we are ugly. For the soul is many things, is all, is the above and the beneath to the totality of life, and each of us is an intellectual cosmos, linked to this world by what is lowest in us, but by what is the highest, to the divine intellect, by all that is intellective. We are permanently in that higher realm, but at the fringe of the intellectual we are fed, tiered to the lower. It is as if we gave forth from it some emanation towards that lower, or rather some act, which however leaves our diviner part not in itself diminished. Every evildoer began by despising the gods, and one not previously corrupt, taking to this contempt, even though in other respects not wholly bad, becomes an evildoer by the very fact. For the life it leads is dark with evil, sunk in manifold death. It sees no longer what the soul should see. It can no longer rest within itself, but is forever being dragged towards the external, the lower, the dark. Because of the power and nature of good, evil is not just evil. Since it appeared of necessity, it is bound with certain beautiful chains, like prisoners bound with golden chains, hidden by these, so that, being like this, it is not seen by the gods, and human beings do not always have to look at evil. But whenever they look, they are accompanied by images of beauty to recollect. To see the Supreme, which is also the means to the vision, for that which illuminates the soul ID, that which is to see. The acting force in the sage is the intellective principle, the diviner phase of the human soul, which therefore is itself his presiding spirit, or is guided by a presiding spirit of its own, no other than the very divinity.